Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the Maelstrom Avatar? Part 1. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. In a village that is surrounded by trees known as Konoha, the Leaf Village, and in this village there was an angry mob chasing a red-haired child, and he was called Naruto, and he had 3 whisker-like birthmarks in his cheeks, and was around 5 years of age. Then the child turned into an alleyway, hoping he would loose the mob, but it did work. Then before he knew it, he was pinned to a wall in a crucified manner, and the last thing he saw was a shinobi with silver hair that defied gravity, pulling out 2 kunais from his pouch, and throw them at him while aiming for his eye. Then the mob started to attack the child, who had passed out due to shock. Meanwhile, inside Naruto's mind woke up in a sewer, and he said, "Where am I?" "This is your mindscape, kid," a female voice was heard. Naruto looks around and asks in a scared manner, "Who there and who are you?" "Someone that has been with you since the day you was born and is very sorry with how your life has been," the voice replied. "What do you mean?" Naruto asked. "I'll tell you when we met, now come to me," came the reply. "So which way do I go?" Naruto asked. "It doesn't matter, all paths lead you to where I am," the voice answered. "I see," Naruto said before walking off in a random direction. In what feels like a 15-minute walk, Naruto finds himself in front of a cage that held what seemed to be a creature that had a pair of crimson fox eye. Then the creature said, "I see you are here, kid. Well, you did say you will answer my questions if I came here, and I want to know who you are. What did you mean that you have been with me since my birthday?" Naruto said. "Well, to put it in a way that you will understand, I am Kurama the 9-tailed fox, and I am sealed in you, and that happened on the day you was born," the fox said as she reviled herself. Naruto looks like he was about to cry as he said, "So the villagers are right, I am a demon." Before Kurama could say anything, there was a flash of light, and when it died, there stood a girl that had long silver hair and dark blue eyes, and she was wearing a long white coat, with the sleeves rolled up with a black vest underneath, as well as a pink ruffled ascot with a sky blue gem in the center, and white gloves. She was also wearing a pale olive green caprice and mid-shin black boots, and she said, "Now that isn't true, you are just a human boy that has been dealt a hand, because someone wants to control something that is long forbidden." Kurama was in a state of shock upon seeing the girl, and she said, "Enna Crows, what are you doing here?" Enna turns to the fox and says, "I was sent here to offer you both something." Naruto looked at the two, then asked, "You two know each other?" "Of course we do, after all she is like me before her original form went made, and both her sons had to do something to stop her," Enna said. "And what are you?" Naruto asked. "I am what you would an avatar," Enna said. "And what is an avatar?" Naruto asked. "An avatar is a being that has been created by a god-goddess own power as a way around their own rules to keep their creation in check, or to keep balance, as well as protect humans from things that are beyond what human can handle," Kurama answered. "I see, so what do you offer us?" Naruto said, not really understanding what was said. "Well, for you, a way to see," Enna said, then turned to Kurama, "And you, Kurama, freedom and your whole power back." "So, what do I have to do to get my freedom back?" "Also on one condition," Kurama asked. "Well, that all depends on Naruto, and if he agrees then I will ask what your condition is, then I will have to speak to Kami and see if she will agree," Enna said. "Well, that is better than a straight up no," Kurama said. Then they both turned their attention back to Naruto. When Naruto saw that both beings was looking at him, the first thing he said was, "Wait, I'm blind, but I can see also Kami is a girl." "Well, yes, seeing as he is my creator and an avatar take the gender of their creator," Emma said. Then she gave a big sigh, knowing what she is about to say isn't easy, then said, "Unfortunately, because this is your mind, you are able to see, but outside of here, that's not the case." "So, what would I have to do to see again?" Naruto said. "For you to become a different type of avatar," Emma said. "Huh?" Naruto said with his head tilt. "Before the era of shinobi there was the era of benders," Emma said. Seeing Naruto still have a confused look, she said, "Being that are able to move the element itself." "So, what does that have to do with anything?" Naruto asked. "Everything, as humans back then could only use one element, but the avatar is able to use all 4 elements," Emma said. "Don't you mean 5? Naruto said. Emma shook her head and said, "No, I mean 4, and they are air, water, earth and fire, seeing as lighting is a form of fire back then." "So, what would I have to give up if I do become this avatar?" Naruto said. "You would have to give up your chakra," Enna said. "And there is no other way for me to see again?" Naruto asked. "Well, not one that is within the god's rules," Enna said. "I will do it, then I will become a one-of-a-kind ninja," Naruto said. Enna smiled, then said, "That's good." Then she turned to Kurama and said, "So do you want to know what you have to do for your freedom and power back?" "Yes, I am," Kurama said. "You are to be the animal companion to Naruto like all the past avatars," Hinata said. "Should have seen that one coming, seeing as the avatar always have an animal companion, Naga with Korra, Appa with Ongfang with Roku. Now I will do it that Kami frees my sisters without killing their host, and that we can't be sealed ever," Kurama said. "Well, as I said, I would have to speak to Kami too. I will see what I can do," Enna said before reaching into her pocket and pulls out a glowing orb, and it floats and forms a man that was bold and with a blue arrow on him. Then man looks around and sees Enna, then he asks, "Where am I?" "Well, you are in a boy that has had a rough live and has agreed to become Korra's successor," Enna replied as she gestured to Naruto. "And what of the beast?" Ong asks as he points to Kurama. "Don't mind her as she might leave soon enough," Enna said. "I see, and who would teach the boy the other elements?" Ong asks. asked. Well, Kami was thinking your wife Katara for water, Iroh for fire and Toph with earth, as well as how to see we the Bai is now blind. Enna said now I will leave and get the other souls for Naruto, and to see if Kami will agree to Kurama condition. Then she disappeared in the same manner that she appeared in. Aang turns to Naruto and asked, are you ready? Ready for what? Naruto asked. For you to start to your journey as the Avatar. Aang replied. Well, I guess, Naruto answered. Then Aang nodded. Then his eyes and arrows began to glow. Then he submerged. Then the water began to glow. Then the water went to Naruto and encased him. Then 5 minutes later, the water went back to normal. Naruto shakenly got up and said, well, I don't want to go. Thought that again. Well, don't worry, you didn't have to do it again, Aang said before saying, now as your new Avatar, you can't control the element so you can't get out, but as you let me, I can get you to safety. Okay, do it, Naruto said as his eyes began to glow. Real world, it has been 5 minutes since Naruto had passed out. Then he woke up with eyes glowing. Then a little tornado surrounding him destroying the building, freeing Naruto, and the sky darkened, and one of villagers said, kill the demon, it's gaining its power back. When the wind stopped, Aang stood there. Then he said that in enough, leave now or else. Then a man with pale eyes stepped forward, said, and what are you going to do? You are outnumbered. What might be the case, but you are outmatched now, step aside, I don't wish to hurt you, and I know Naruto doesn't either, Aang said. You're bluffing, I can see that you don't have chakra, the pale-eyed person said. And yet you see nothing, Aang said before stamping his foot, and a fissure opened up starting at where his foot was. Then he swings his arm, and a gust of wind sent mob flying out of the alleyway. Just as Aang was out of the alley, he was surrounded, but the Anbu looking around, he sees one, the cat Anbu that actually protected Naruto. Then he said, if you're here, then the Hokage Tsurutobi is nearby. Then next thing Aang knew, cat Anbu had her sword at Aang's throat, and she said, how do you know that, and what have you done to Naruto? Easy with that sword, if you hurt me then you hurt Naruto, seeing as I am Naruto, Aang said. Don't lie to me, Naruto is a 5-year-old kid, Nico said. I am not lying, I am Naruto, and you could say I am one of his past lives, Aang said. What do you mean, an old man wearing robes that represent the Hokage? I will explain what I mean in private, Aang answered. Very well, but try anything, Tsurutobi said as he led Aang to his office. Like you would do anything, after all you see Naruto is a grandchild, but rest assured, I won't try anything, Aang said. When they got to the office, the Hokage sat at his desk, then dismissed the Anbu, then asked, so who are you and what are you? Well, my name is Aang, and I was or is it am the Avatar, Aang said. And what is the Avatar? Nico asked as she refused to leave. The Avatar is a being that predates the ninja era. Then you live now where there was something similar known as bending, and there were 4 main elements, well 5 if you count energy bending, and all benders can use only one element, except for one individual, Aang said. That individual would be the Avatar, Tsurutobi asked. Yes, the Avatar is also the bridge to the spirit world as well, Aang said. By what you said there are other elements, Tsurutobi asked. That's right, just like your chakra have sub-elements, so did bending, and with a lot of talent and practice, you could bend element that are like to that element, Aang said. I see, so why have you come here, Tsurutobi asked. Aang gave a sad sigh and asked, before you mind if I have a seed, and Tsurutobi nodded and gestured to the one in front of him. Then once Aang said, he said, well, as you know there was an attack on Naruto, and the old man nodded. Well, this attack was worse than others. Both Tsurutobi and Nico gasped, and the Nico asked, so what happened? Well, I don't know who did it, but they took Naruto's eyes, Aang said. So, he can become a ninja, Tsurutobi said in a sad tone. Now I never said that, I said they made Naruto blind doesn't mean he is helpless, Aang said. Both Nico and the Hokage gained a confused look, and Nico asked, what do you by that? Well, my earthbending teacher was actually blind, and she got around just fine, and she didn't let that stop her, as she became one of the best, as well as the founder of metal bending, Aang replied. How did she manage to see then, Tsurutobi asked. Well, she used her bending to feel the vibrations in the earth, Aang said. So, like bats with echolocation, Nico said. That's right, so a god's avatar by the name of Enna Crows gave Naruto the choice to gain this ability, as well as bend the elements to your will or be helpless, Aang said. Great to hear, but what did he have to jive up to be bender, Tsurutobi said. Well, he had to give up his chakra, as chakra and kai cannot coexist, and right now, he is losing the ability to use chakra, and, in the morning, he will be a bender, Aang said. Well, if it's his choice then I cannot hold it against anyone, so what happens now, Tsurutobi said. Well, first I would like some chakra paper so we know where to start, as there is certain way when learning the elements. Then I wait for Enna to show up with the other souls, that is to help train Naruto. Then tomorrow we leave the village, so Naruto can train in peace, Aang said. I understand, and I take it he will be back when his age group graduates, Tsurutobi asks as he pulls out a piece of paper. Yes, he will, Aang said, which got a nod from Tsurutobi in agreement, as Aang was about to channel some of Naruto's chakra into the paper, when he was interrupted by a bright light. Light and Enna Crows stood there with 4 glowing balls, and she ignores Tsurutobi and Nico and turned to Aang and said, I am back. I can see that, so did Kami agree to Kurama's condition? Aang asked. She did, seeing as it was a noble request, and I will do that tonight, Enna said as she places one orb in her pocket and managing to balance the other 3 in one hand, before she rams them into Naruto's body, and when she pulls out out an orb, then she brings out the orb that she placed in her pocket and fuses the spheres, then she places it on the ground, then it forms a small fox with red-orange fur and red eyes with long thick black lashes. She also has large ears, small arms and feet, and a fluffy tail. Then she said, now Kurama, seeing as you don't have a connection to an element that the Avatar's companion usually has, so Kami gave you a few abilities. Nice, so what can I do? Kurama said. Well, you will have to find hat out yourself, Enna said. Then she saw that paper Aang was holding when said, so have you found out what element Naruto has? Aang shook his head and said, no, I was about to when you showed up. Then he channeled some chakra into the paper and it split, and he said, so he's starting out as an airbender. Now that is surprising, as the land of fire don't get many wind types. Now you better go, as I am sure Naruto is tired. Also you need to get ready for tomorrow, Sarutobi said, and Aang looks at Enna. Enna sees Aang looking at her, and she said, go, I need to speak to the old man also to motivate him a bit. Tell him that for each element he masters, Kami will send me to tell him something, and I will tell him more in the morning, and Aang nods. Then he heads out of the office and heads to Naruto's apartment to get a bag ready, and Nico was accompanying him. Sarutobi looks at Enna and asks, so what do you want to talk about? You are a coward and you have become stupid and weak, Enna said. Now just wait a minute, Sarutobi said. Enna interrupted the Hokage by saying, I know what you are going to say, and let me tell you something. You knew that Kushina was the Jinchuriki, and Minato did all he could to keep Kushina safe for those that would want to use the QB, and yet someone knew and found them when Kushina went into labor. You think someone leaked where the safe house was? Sarutobi said. I don't think I know, someone did, and also it was your student that leaked Naruto's status to the villagers, Enna said. Knowing there was only one student of his in the village at the time, Sarutobi said, why would he do this to Naruto? Simple, he wants to control something that no one has the right to control, to the point that he lied to Kushina, who left the village and took her daughter with her, Enna said. Wait, you mean to tell me that Kushina is alive? But I saw her body, and she only gave birth to Naruto, Sarutobi said. No, what you saw was a horrid jutsu called the Death Clone Jutsu, which can change a dead body into another, and Kushina gave birth to twins that night, Enna said. And how do you know this stuff? Sarutobi asks. Well, I am the head avatar, as my creator is the head goddess herself, Kami, and she and I are linked, so I can do her bidding, like when someone think it's a good idea to interfere with a prophecy, Enna explained. Then she said, also how you have been handling Naruto. What do you mean by that? Sarutobi asked. Telling him that you don't know who his parents are. Do you know that he thinks they abandoned him? Enna said. Realizing that Enna was right, bangs his heads on his desk and said, what have I done? You need to make it right. You can do that tomorrow. Now I have to go as I have other thing to do, Enna said. Then she left in the manner that she appeared, leaving the old Hokage in thought. Once he was done thinking, he pulls out some paper and writes a note for Kushina to tell her that Enna told him. The following day, Sarutobi, Kurenai, Anko, Hana and Nico showed up at the gate, ready to say bye to Naruto before he learns all about bending for the next 10 years, and when he did show up it was a teary goodbye. Then Naruto left with his fox companion next to him. That's all, folks. It has been 10 years since Naruto became the Avatar and left to master the 4 elements, and at one of the gates there was a group of 3 people, and a floating fox was coming up to the gate. The first person of the group was Naruto, whose eyes are a dull version of the kitsune, and next to him was 2 females. The first one was called Hakuyuki, and she had long black hair, pale skin and large, dark brown eyes, and a slender frame, and the second girl was known as Kurasuchi, the granddaughter of the 3rd Tsuchikage Inoki, and she has short black hair and distinctly pink eyes, and the last member of the group, which is Kurama. Naruto turns to Kurasuchi and said, what the matter, Kuro? Nothing wrong, Naruto. Kurasuchi lied. Kurasuchi, while I might be blind, we both know that I see more than everyone. Even would you lie, Naruto said. And we both hate that you can do that, Naruto-sama. Haku said. Is it because we are going to Konoha? Naruto said, causing the girl to flinch. Then he said, well, if it makes you feel any better, if anyone knows who you are and plans to attack you, then they will be having flying lesson, plus if they do attack, then I will most likely be their target. The 2 girls nodded as they understood as they asked how Naruto became blind, and Kurama's ears dropped. Then she said, and I am sorry for what happened for your first 5 years, kid. It's not your fault, Kurama, and even if it was, you have more than made up for it, Naruto said. Got that right, seeing as I am your eyes at time, Kurama said. And what good is it as you can only like the sights when you sit on Naruto-sama and can hold it no more than 5 minutes, Haku said in a jabbing manner. Knowing what was coming if the 2 continued, Naruto said, alright, enough you 2, causing the 2 to stop as they were getting near the gates. As the group approached the gate, the guard said, halt, state your business for coming to Konoha. We are here to talk to the Hokage about several things, Naruto said as Kurama floated over to sit on Naruto's head. I see, well, can you please sign the book, please, the guard said as he handed Naruto a pen. Naruto gently taps his foot to see the man holding something at him, and before he could say anything, Haku took the pen and said, I will be taking that, seeing as he is blind. Then she looks at Kurama and stuck her tongue before signing the paperwork. Alright, all looks in order, go on, though, the man said after looking at the paperwork, and he remembers something, then asks, do you need any help getting to the Hokage building? Thank you so much and no thanks, I know where it is, Naruto said as he walks through the gate with Haku and Kurasuchi behind him. The guard looks confused and mumbles to himself, but he has never been here before, although he does seem familiar. Then another guard came out building and said, hey, wasn't that the demon? The first guard then realized why Naruto seemed familiar, then said, Kami, you're right, he was the demon, and that's how he knew where the Hokage building was. As the group was walking through the streets, Naruto was getting looked at by everyone as they was trying to figure out who he was. Then one man remembered, then grabbed the closest thing he could, which was a knife, and said, so you decided to come back, you little demon, and as he was about to throw it, he was shot into the sky by a butt of earth that came up from the ground and was sinking back down. When the man hit the ground, he had lost the knife, just managed to sit up when the knife hit the ground, just missing his private, causing the man to faint with a rather darkened patch on his trousers. Naruto and the girls were laughing at what just happened, although the girls were laughing harder as they can see the guy pissed himself. Then Kurasuchi said, man, I can't wait to be able to do that. That might be true, but remember that you will only be able to do it after you and I get married, and you will have to willingly give up your chakra. Kurasuchi nodded and said, I get it, but why? Because Kai and chakra can't work together. When the sage gave the world chakra, he thought it will stop wars between the benders and non-benders, Naruto said. And how do you know that? Haku asked. Simple, I asked him, seeing as I am able to go into the spirit world, I sometimes look around to see if I can learn about the world from the bending era, Naruto said. So, anyone that hasn't been reincarnated lives in the spirit world, Kurasuchi said. That's right, but it's mostly those that was spiritually aware, Naruto replied. Meanwhile, in the Hokage building, Hiruzen was doing paperwork when the doors opened and a blonde girl around 15 years of age came in, followed by a woman that looked like she was late 20s to early 30s, and the old man said, hello Kushina-chan, and to you as well Naruko-chan, what can I do for you today? Well, Hiruzen, has Naruto had showed up yet? Kushina replied. No, I haven't received any reports of someone using weird jutsus, but no, he will show up in the next few days, seeing as I have received word from the monkeys that we have been using to keep in touch that he is on his way as he wants to talk to me about something, Hiruzen replied. So, what do you think he want to talk to you about, Jiji? Naruto asked. No clue, but I might have an idea, Hiruzen replied. Really, what? Kushina asked. Well, from what the monkeys say, since he started bending, the spirits that has been helping him has taught him more than bending, and he makes an excellent cup of tea which I want to try from what the monkeys have been saying. So, he could be opening up a tea shop, Naruto said. Well, that what I think, Hiruzen said. Well, is his mother, I will be there for him no matter what, just like I should have been before, Kushina said, having a downcast look. Be the end. Well, I am sure Anna has told him everything, seeing as she did take quite a liking to him, Hiruzen said. And I still say that I should have hunted Jiraiya and kill him for what he did to my baby boy, Kushina said. I know, but like I told you, he is an expert in hiding, and we know we won't find him unless he wants to, Hiruzen said as he remembered the day Kushina came back. Flashback a month after Naruto left. Hiruzen was in his office worried about Naruto when the door busted opened and an angry woman with red hair came marching in, and Hiruzen said, Kushina, good to see you again, so what can I do for you? Kushina walks desk and said, alright Hiruzen, how did she find out? Having an idea on she was on about, so he asked, how did who find out? I don't know, some girl with long silver hair and dark blue eyes, and she was also wearing a long white coat. She appeared like Minato, but without the marker and at white light and not a flash, and she just walks up to Naruto and said, I am sorry, but someone need this more. Then she plunges a hand in my baby girl's body and pulls out a glowing ball, which later we found out to be the QB's power. Then she disappears in the same way she appeared, and Kushina said, I see, I do know who you mean, Kushina, as I met her a month ago, the same day Naruto lost her status as a Jinchuriki, as she was helping out your son, Hiruzen said before feeling some Kai. Kushina, who was unleashing Kai, looked at the Hokage and said, so who is she, and don't you dare talk about my dead son that way. Her name is Enna Crows. Also Kushina, your son is alive, you were lied to 5 years ago, Hiruzen said. Not believing Hiruzen, Kushina said, okay, let's say I do believe you now, why did you send Jiraiya to say that the sealing failed and Naruto was dead? I did send him to you, but to say the sealing was a success and was alive and healthy. But Jiraiya want to control something that should never be controlled, Hiruzen said. What do you mean, Hiruzen? Kushina asked. When Jiraiya first heard of the prophecy, I thought he was lucky and that it will give him a change to better himself to be worthy of training the child of prophecy. But a month ago when Naruto was yet again attacked, it sent a chain reaction all around the land, Hiruzen said. I am afraid to ask, but what do you mean by that? Kushina asked. Before Hiruzen could answer, there was a flash of light and Enna Crows appeared, and she said, I will answer that as well to your any other questions you might have, Kushina. You see, a month ago, Naruto was attacked for the umpteenth time since Jiraiya leaked that Naruto was a Jinchuriki, but last time the mob took Naruto's eye, so Kami sent me to help her chosen one, so I gave him the ability known as bending in will give him the ability to see. But how would bending give him the ability to see? Kushina asked. As long as he remains barefoot, he will see though the earth thanks to earth bending, so I made him the latest incarnation of the most powerful bender, also known as the Avatar, Enna replied. I see, and by what you said I take it the Avatar can bend all 5 elements, Kushina said. Well, with bending there is 4 as lighting is a sub-element to fire, but yes Enna answer. Kushina nods and not really understanding what was being said, so he asks her next question. So how did you know Naruto was in Jinchuriki the QB? Well, unlike the bending avatar which was created when one a firebender merged to a spirit known as Rava, can't appear on the mortal plane, so they can create beings out of their own power also known as avatar, and I am an avatar of the goddess herself, and I am to do thing that she need to sort out Enna explained. So why did you need to take the QB's power Kushina asked. Maybe because she set the fox free Hiruzen replied. You did what my husband died to seal it way Kushina said. Enna looks at Kushina with a critical eye, before asking tell me Kushina what happened on October the 10th. Not to tell that I was in labor when the fox attacked, and that Minato sealed it into our children, as they were the only two that can handle the power Kushina replied. That is not true Kurama was sealed inside, and you was hidden away, so no one can use your weakened state to extract the Biju out of you. But I am sad to say that Minato told someone which did the job and used the QB to attack that village, that both he and Jiraiya knew the seal he needed to use would take his soul as payment that was non-negotiable, so the plan was that you leave with Naruto while Naruto was used as scapegoat, then when you come back you kill him as he would look like you son Enna explained. But there is no way that Minato would ever do that Kushina said, not noticing a faint glow on the back of her neck. Enna sees the glow then gives a sad sigh before walking over to the picture of Minato, before removing the photo and activated the seal and a set of book, then she handed them to the red-haired mother and said here is what you would find out about what you need to know about all of Minato's plans he had with the council, and Jiraiya now stands still. Kushina looks Enna confused before the avatar slaps the back of the neck and destroys whatever seal on there causing the Kushina tongue collapse. Then the avatar lifts up the female and slings her over her shoulder and turns to the Hokage and says well I best be of and take Kushina home so she can read that sort of person Minato was as well as prepare top set thing right with her son when he returns in 10 years' time. That might be for the best also please leave the knot that once her rampage is over, I would like to see her Hiruzen said. As Enna was walking out of the office, she waved it off and said will do, and once she was out the office she saw a little girl that was 5 years old and said hello Naruto sorry about last month too I needed the power that was sealed inside you I would go into depth but you are too young to understand. That's okay miss, but what happened to Kachan the young girl said asked. She is just taking a nap as I removed something that shouldn't have been there, so it is now my responsibility to take you in her home, Enna said as she held out her hand, so Naruto could take it, then they left the building. End of flashback. Here is inside as he was about to start chatting to Kushina and Naruto when his comm went off. Outside building Naruto and his group was lust entering the building they walked in and went up to the receptionist, and Kurasuchi said hello can we see the Hokage. The receptionist looks at a schedule and said you're in luck he is free, let me just see if he will see you know before reaching Tun the comm and say Hokage-sama, you have a group of 3 people that want to talk to you. Alright send them in the Hokage said. Will do the receptionist said then she said to the group go on though. Thank you Naruto said. The receptionist sees Naruto's eyes and asks wait will you be able to get to the office okay? I will after all that's what the fox is for, and I have a special technique Naruto said, then points to Haku before saying and Haku here tries to help, but I don't let her, and as the group was heading to off Kurama was looking at Haku with a smug look. Once the group was outside Kurasuchi knocked and they heard the Hokage say come in. Naruto was the first one to enter and he said hey old man did you miss me? Hiruzen looks at the blonde for a moment before recognizing him, then said Naruto is that you? Naruto nods then said right so you haven't gone senile yet Jiji so who are the 2 females that was in here before we got here? Before Hiruzen could say anything Kushina said I am your mother and I am sorry for leaving you, but I was told the sealing failed. I know because Enna told me, and I can tell you are telling the truth Naruto said. Thank you Naru-kun Kushina said as she ran over to Naruto and to give her son a long-awaited hug, and this time she doesn't plan to let go, and Naruto followed soon after. Hiruzen coughed to get the trio to separate, then said I see your training was a success. Damn right it was Naruto said. Then the old man noticed the eyes and asked so what happened to your eyes? I don't know one time Kurama was sitting on my head 1 minute using earth bending to see the next I am able to see although it was for a few seconds, and since then my eyes have been like Kurama's, and according to the girls, when the connection is there my eyes brighten up otherwise, they are dull Naruto replied. I see so what can Kurama do Hiruzen asked. Well so far, we have discovered that she can change her size while in chibi mode, she can float around as well as turn into the 4 elements, and we can form a giant creature, and she can hold my stuff in her tail. So, like one of those bags that has a seal that make it bigger on the inside Naruto said. That's right but so far, we haven't found a limit on how much that goes in, and only she can place it in her her tail to be active, Naruto said. Well, that's understandable, otherwise everyone will be putting things in her tail, Kushina said. So, what of her other form, Hiruzen asks. Just a smaller version of her true form, Haku said. Thank you, miss. So who are you two anyway? Hiruzen asked as he looks at Naruto's companions. Well, I am Haku Yuki of the Yuki clan, who has an ice type Kekkei Genkai, and I am also Naruto-sama's weapon, Haku said. Now that is a lie, as that is my job, Kurama said before flying at the ice user. Naruto sighed before saying forget about them, and Kurama is right, she isn't my weapon. But she says that I am her master as I help her out when she was at a low point in her life. What do you mean, Naruto? Kushina asks. Well, I met Haku a year after I became the Avatar and was learning waterbending from Katara-bachan when I was passing an alleyway and saw something inside, causing me to stop and ask who was there. Then Haku walks out and feeling how she was, offered her something to eat and she tells me how she became homeless. Then after hearing that I asked her if she wanted to join me and she did on one condition, Naruto said. And how did she become homeless and what was the condition? Hiruzen asked. Well, as you know, at that time there was civil war going on. Well, Haku's mother managed to get out but was injured, but luckily for her a man was passing though and healed her and later fell in love. Then not long after that Haku was, and when Haku discovered her Kekkei Genkai, she showed her mother, but she hoping she would be happy, but she wasn't and told her not to do it again. But what they didn't know was that the man saw and left to get some people, then they came and to kill them. Both they killed the mother, but in a terrified state Haku's bloodline killed everyone else, Naruto said, before giving a sad sigh before continuing. Now, as for the condition, well, it was when I am able I helped the civil war I did, after I learned the other two elements. I see, Hiruzen said as he took a puff on his pipe before turning to Kurasuchi and asks, and who are you, my dear? Well, I am Kurasuchi, and I am the granddaughter of Inoki Kurasuchi, causing everyone apart from her companions to go wide-eyed. Hiruzen compassed himself the quickest before saying, I see, so what are you doing here seeing as your village hates ours? Well, that is why I am here, to bury the past, and for what is worth Jiji never hated Konoha for what happened seeing as it was a war, Kurasuchi said. So, what does you being here got to do with letting bygones be bygones? Hiruzen asked. Well, some point I plan to marry Naruto as he saved my life, because I got kidnapped as the person that was supposed to protect me let it happen, and before he could say where I was my supposed protector kill my kidnapper, and I was in a cave for 2 days before Naruto felt me under him and got me out. Then Jiji let Naruto stay for a few days. Then as Naruto was about to leave, I suggested that I leave with him, that way whatever happened won't happen again, and I also suggested a way to let the past remain in the past, Kurasuchi explained. The arranged marriage, Hiruzen said, which got a nod from Kurasuchi. Well, sound like you had an eventful journey, Naruto said. You have no idea, Naruto said. Well, we will leave it there as Kushina wants to connect with her son, and you two want to settle down, and the exam will be tomorrow, Hiruzen said. Then the now group of 5 left the office, and Kushina lead Naruto, Haku and Kurasuchi the Uzumaki home, while Naruto left to speak with her friends. But Naruto woke up the next morning with Kurama on his chest, so he shook the vixen awake and then went to get up, and the moment one of his feet touched the floor, he saw someone approaching the room he was in. Then he hears his mother said, Naruto, are you up? I am, thank you. So where are Haku and Kurasuchi? Naruto said. Well, they were up about an hour ago, and tight now they are outside training. Now come on, it's time for you to have breakfast, Kushina replied. Did someone say food? Kurama said before flying out of the room, which got a laugh from both mother and son. Kushina was the first to stop laughing before turning back to her son to say, listen Naruto, which got his attention, before we go and get breakfast. I know I have said this to you yesterday, but I really am sorry for abandoning you like that. If I had known that you were still alive. Achan, that's enough. I know you are sorry. I can feel that you are trembling. And while I will admit that I was angry and upset when Enna told me that you was still alive, as I was thinking that you didn't love me, you thought I was a demon like everyone else. But Enna sorted that out straight away, and quite frankly, it was a good thing you did, Naruto said. And how is it a good thing? Because of that you are blind, Kushina said. True, but because of that I have a power is now basically extinct, and I am the strongest one of them, Naruto said. Thinking about what her son had said, Kushina said, well, you do have a point there, but now I am worried that people will try and use you for their own personal gain. Well, that can try, but they will fail, Naruto said with confidence. And how can you be so sure? Kushina asked. Well, how I can tell is the same way I can see, Naruto said. So, you never really got into it yesterday, but how are you able to know where you are going? Kushina asked. That is thought the use of earth bending. I am able to see seismic activity, Naruto said. Kushina's eyes went wide, then said, oh, I get it, so you can know the vibrations on the ground. Naruto nodded, then he said, right. Then they both left the room and headed to the kitchen. An hour later, Naruto, Haku and Kurasuchi was getting ready to leave when Kushina said, now Naruto, you take care of your brother, not that he needs it, but help him when his bending can't be effective. Will do, Kachan, Naruto said. Kurama then got into Naruto's face and said, hey, that's my job. Haku then grabbed Kurama by the scruff and said no that's my job you floating furball. Oh, I can merge worth Naruto to form things that can go toe to toe with a Biju, carry stuff and can become his eyes, so what can you do Kurama said asked. Well, nothing except for carrying his stuff and be his eyes Haku said in defeat. Naruto sighed then said alright you two that's enough we have to get going to the academy. Okay sure both Haku and Kurama said at the same time before turning to each other, then said this isn't over then the soon-to-be ninjas left after Kushina gives Naruto a note from the Hokage. Once at the academy Naruto lead the others to the classroom and upon entering Naruto walked up to the teacher that had a scare on his face, then she said as she hands the note over hey Iruka-sensei got a note for you. The teacher takes the note from Naruto and reads it, then said I see thanks Naruto now take your seat Naruto nods, then goes to her seat and as she was going Iruka said alright class we have 3 people taking the exam. Then a pink-haired girl stood up and shouted who can you let 3 wannabes just join us like that. Naruto tapped his foot to feel who was calling them wannabes, then he said well from what I hear you are the wannabe. What did you just say the pink-haired girl said. What kind of ninja has a shirking voice that you properly don't know when to shut up, Naruto said which got a shriek from the girl. Then a boy with red markings on his cheeks notices Naruto's eyes and he asks hey what's wrong with your eyes. Well to simply put I am blind Naruto replied. Then a black-haired teen laughed and said well then how can you be a ninja if you're blind so leave this to the elites. Well, I know the 2 lovely ladies behind me are better than you and I am more than capable of holding my own Naruto said while getting a blush from Haku and Kurasuchi. The black-haired boy scrolled deep and then he said I guess you don't know who I am. Naruto smirks then said well give the guy a prize after all I just got here just yesterday. Then let me tell you how I am the boy said. Oh, please do enlighten us, Kurasuchi said as she was the one that held the most powerful title under Naruto. Before the black-haired boy could say anything Iruka said Sasuke sit down you 2 Sakura, then we can start the exam, then he turned to the trio, then said you 3 can take which seat is free then, as the 3 was going to their seats, the sensei said wait Naruto. Naruto stops then asks as he turns to face Iruka what is it Iruka? Iruka was bit hesitant to ask at first, but he asked I mean no offense, but will you be okay with the exam? No need to worry I will be fine thanks to Kurama here, Naruto replied as he points to Kurama who was sitting on his head, then he turns and goes to sit down. How did I miss the fox that is sitting on his head was the thought for most of the class. Once Naruto took his seat the instructors started to pass out the tests, then Iruka said you have 1 hour begin, then there was the sound of pencils writing on paper. Once the hour had passed Iruka said alright the exam is now over put down the pencils, now we are going to take a small break so we can collect and grade the exams, then everyone left the room and the 2 instructors got to work. Outside Naruto Haku Kurasuchi then Kurasuchi said what kind of exam was that I knew most of that and I am now even from this village. I know what you mean Kurasuchi Tsunade-sama would be ashamed of how the village is considering it was her own grandfather that built the village with her grandmother Mito Uzumaki and Madara Uchiha Haku said with a sigh. Well, it's a good thing that she is coming back in a month, Naruto said before turning to the side as he felt 3 people approach, then he said hey Naruto who are your friends? How did you know it was me Naruto asked shocked along with her friends one was blonde while the other had lavender hair. Well, I tend to learn how my allies walk so that way they can't fool me Naruto said. Yeah, that little trick has saved us a lot of trouble, Kurasuchi said with a little laugh as she remembered the numerous time people have transformed into her and Haku to get close to Naruto. What do you mean and how did you know we was coming seeing as you're blind the blonde asked. Well like I said earlier just because I am blind doesn't mean I am not capable I just see another way and Naruto everyone may seem to walk, but they have a slight difference also who are your friends, Naruto replied. Oh, right I was shocked to know that you knew I was coming anyway to my left is Ino and to my right is Hinata Naruto said and stumped her feet to said person. Hinata noticed what Naruto did ask Naruto, why did you stomp your feet? It's to let Naruto see who I was talking about Naruto replied. And how can he see us Ino asked. I see though the earth Ino Naruto said. How Ino and Hinata asked. Well for you to know that you need to know that I don't have a single ounce of chakra Naruto replied. How is that possible Hinata asked. Well, it's like this and it's also how I lost my eyesight, Naruto said before explaining how he became the Avatar. When Naruto was done Ino and Hinata was shocked then Ino said, so you have a power that predate the shinobi era and this power lets you bend 4 elements of the 5 elements. Well back then it was 4 lighting was a sub-element for fire just like combustion Naruto said. So, don't the other elements have sub-elements Hinata asked. Well earth and water does and all the elements have a skill that you can gain if train hard enough Naruto said. Well, what are they Ino asked. Well water bending has blood bending and the ability of healing now earth has metal and lava bending and the ability of sense seismic activity now air gives you the ability to fly, and is astral projection, Naruto replied. Then they fell into a comfortable conversation. After 10 minutes had gone, Iruka had come out and said everyone came back in so we can start the jutsu part of the test. As the students was entering, Naruto walked up to Iruka and said, Iruka, I am going to skip this part of the exam because I don't have chakra. Iruka nods and said, I know, as it was in the note that your sister gave me. Great, Naruto said before heading inside. When then jutsu test was done, Iruka said, alright class, the jutsu part of the exam is over, so please head outside for the last part of the exam, the taijutsu. Sakura then stood up and said, sensei, you missed a blind baka. That's because I can't use chakra, you banshee. Now shut up before you find out what I am really capable of, Naruto said before leaving the room, but as he took the first step the whole building shook. When the shaking stopped, a teen that had his hair in a pineapple style said, what caused the earthquake, seeing as we're not on a fault line? Naruto turns to the teen then said, from what I understand Shikamaru, that little quake was caused by Naruto. Sasuke perked up at hearing this. Then Haku said, and that was a tiny bit of his power. Then both her and Kurasuchi followed Naruto to the arena. After a few minutes, the others started to follow, and as they were walking to the arena, Sasuke thought, I must get that power so I can beat him. Once the class was at the arena, they were shocked to see rocks of all sizes and orbs of water floating around. Then Sasuke said, give me that power. Naruto looks at the class, then said, sure, I can give you this power, but unlike me, you will only have control over one element, but it will come at a cost. What do you mean? That in order to do what you can do comes at a price. A boy with a big build who is standing next to Shikamaru. Well, in order to do what he can you would have to give up something, Haku said. And it's chakra we would have to give up, isn't it? Shikamaru asked. It is, so the question is, will you give up chakra to bend one of the four elements, Kurasuchi said. Before anyone could ask about the bending arts, Naruto said, how about we finish the exam before you ask us about bending? He is right, let's start the taijutsu exam. The first spar will be between Naruto and Sasuke, Iruka said. As the two students was walking into the arena, Sasuke said, get ready, you'll lose dope, because you will be where you belong. And where is that? Naruto asks. Beneath me, as I will be taking that power that should be mine, Sasuke said. Naruto laughs at this then said, oh, and here I thought it was me still standing in the ring and you outside, and I doubt you will be much of a challenge, which got a scroll from Sasuke. Once the two boys got into position, the instructor said, Hajime. Sasuke launched himself towards Naruto, and as he was about to punch him, Naruto deflects the punch and with the same hand grabs the wrist, and as he does, he starts to turn around, and it caused Sasuke to go turn, and the process nearly sent him out of the ring. When Naruto was done with the technique, Sasuke got up and said, so you are nothing without your bending, because if that's all you've got then that is pathetic. Well, that was me being kind, but if you want, I can attack, Naruto replied with a smirk. Scared that I will beat you, Sasuke said. Nope, just don't want to embarrass you too much as you're not much of a challenge, unlike that Kunoichi village that I went to once, Naruto said as he remembered visiting Nadeshiko village and the promise he made to Shizuka that in 5 years they will fight, and that time is in a few months. Haku and Kurasuchi both smiled at this as they saw how Shizuka was developing feelings for Naruto. Then Kurasuchi said, so Naru-kun, are you excited for the promise you made? Well, yeah, after all she was great to be around, even though that rule of theirs is a pain in the ass, Naruto replied. Sasuke took that moment to give Naruto a punch, but Naruto dodged it, and he countered with a punch of his own, with enough power to send Sasuke out of the ring. And everyone was shocked at how easy Naruto. Then Iruka said, winner Naruto Uzumaki. As Naruto was walking out of the arena, he said, and that was why I was going easy on you, Sasuke, because unlike you I have real world experience. When the exam was over, the students was back in the classroom waiting for the instructors to return, and when they did, Iruka said, alright, now as I call your name, please step forward and receive your head protector. Then he started to call names that had passed. Then once that was done, he said, and with that I congratulate those that have passed, now be here tomorrow at normal time for your team placements. Then he dismissed the graduates. As Naruto Kurama, who was sitting on Naruto's head, Haku, Kurasuchi and Naruto was leaving the academy building. Naruto, who still has to put on the headband, was running his fingers over it. Then the vixen asked, what are you thinking, Naruto, which got the attention of the others. Well, I am going to see the old man to see if I can modify my head protector a bit, Naruto replied. You're thinking about putting the 4 elemental symbols on it, ain't you, Kurasuchi asked. Naruto nodded and said that I am, but I do believe that I need the old man's permission to do it. Then with their next plan set, the small group was walking out of the grounds and head to the Hokage's office. They heard someone says, hey, wait up, I need to speak to you about something. So, who do you need to speak to, Mitsuki-sensei, Naruto asked. Then Mitsuki said as he points to Naruto. About what do you need to speak to him about, Kurama asked. Sorry, but I can only speak to him in private, Mitsuki said. Go on ahead, I will catch up with you, Naruto said to his sister and girlfriends. Then he said, but Kurama says as she is my eyes. You sure about this, Haku asked. Yes, I am, Naruto said, then leans in to give Haku a kiss in the cheek, then whispers he is up to something, and by doing this we can see what he wants. Haku nods, then continues walking to the Hokage building. Then Mitsuki said, now please follow me, and I will tell you something that very few newly graduates can do. Then he walks to a secluded part of the school, with Naruto following. Once at the area, Mitsuki said, "Now what I am about to tell you is only for those we as instructors tell say, so no telling anyone else, got it, or it would class as a failure." Naruto nods, then said, "Got it, so what is it?" "Well, I know that you are more capable than the average genin, so there is a secret exam that we can minister that allows you to be promotion to chunin." Mitsuki lying. Naruto knows Mitsuki was lying, so he asked, "What do I need to become a chunin?" Mitsuki smiled and thought, "This in perfect, I get the forbidden scroll for my master and the demon take the fall." Then said, "In the Hokage office, there is a vault with a large scroll in it. All you have to do is break in and get it, then take it to a reclusive part of the forbidden forest, the place that has the large trees and a fence around it. No offense, but I do know where training ground 44 is, and I accept." Naruto said. "That's great, but remember, don't tell anyone," Mitsuki said. "Got it," Naruto said, then he heads off to catch the others. Once Naruto caught up, Kurasuchi asked, "So what did the sensei want?" "I will tell you when we get to the old man," Naruto said, then they continued their walk to the building. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.